It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's lunch. No worries. None of this stuff was here when we were speaking, but now that the mayor is coming up here, all of a sudden the paparazzi show up. All right. Chelsea Ziss was sworn in as the new mayor of Maumee on Monday, December 1st, 2025, becoming the 52nd mayor of Maumee. Ms. Ziss will complete the remainder of former Mayor Jim McDonald's term, which runs through December of 27. Following Mayor McDonald's retirement announcement in November, Ms. Ziss, then serving on City Council, was elected council president. Under the provisions of the city charter, that role positioned her to succeed him as mayor. Ms. Ziss has made history as Maumee's first female mayor, and at age 36 is one of the youngest members elected to serve. Super cool. A lifelong resident of Maumee, Ms. Ziss attended Maumee schools from kindergarten through high school, where her two children are now enrolled. Professionally, she serves as Director of Strategy for Inclusity, LLC, a firm specializing in leadership development and organizational culture, which I'm sure you are going to bring to the city. Mayor Ziss is a co-founder of the Citizens of Maumee Action Committee, a grassroots organization dedicated to informing residents about the city's sewer remediation program. She also volunteers with the Maumee Police Department's Shop with a Hero initiative. She earned her associate's degree from Pierpont Community and Technical College and is currently pursuing a dual bachelor's and master's degree in organizational leadership at the University of Maine at Prescott Isle. I didn't practice that one. It is very much my pleasure, and please join me in welcoming Mayor Chelsea Ziss.
Put that down there. Okay. Members of Council, Maumee City Administration, special guests, chamber members, Maumee residents, and business owners of Maumee, welcome to the Maumee State of the City Address. Thank you, Eric Cree with Cree Home Services and the Maumee Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this State of the City luncheon and for continuing to invest in the city, especially through a year that has tested everyone's patience. I want to start by acknowledging something that we all know. The last year in Maumee was eventful. If you had citizen-led sewer policy overhaul, attempted recall, and the largest leadership turnover in city history on your bingo card, congratulations, you are paying very close attention. And yes, before anyone else says it, I'm aware that I'm standing here today as both the mayor and as someone who spent a good part of the last year in the audience, the comments section, and more than a few late-night conversations about how city government works. So if it feels a little full circle, I think it's because it is. But here's the important part. What happened in Maumee wasn't chaos. It was civic engagement. It was a grassroots movement. Over the last few months, I've heard that term quite a bit. I've always felt that it sort of describes a ragtag group of loudmouths who are unhappy with the status quo. Let's be honest, that's not always a mischaracterization. But the original meaning of grassroots is simple. Change that grows from the ground up, not from the top down. And while grassroots movements can be uncomfortable, they also produce something incredibly valuable for a city. Strong roots. Grassroots doesn't mean reckless. It means rooted. The original idea behind grassroots governance is not disruption for disruption's sake. It's about building decisions from a solid foundation of input, data, and real-world impact. And when you do that well, what you get isn't volatility. You get durability. What happened in Maumee last year was not a rejection of order. It was a demand for clearer processes, better communication, and decisions that make sense not just on paper, but on the ground. The outcome wasn't a vacuum, it was a reset. Strong roots create stability, stability builds trust, and trust is the foundation of growth. Though occasionally Mommy has been painted as a city in constant upheaval, the reality is actually much more inspiring. In 2025, Mommy experienced a year of remarkable economic growth. We closed out the year with approximately 122 million in commercial development projects either underway or completed. And we're not even close to done. The Maumee Chamber of Commerce played a pivotal role in celebrating many of these achievements, proudly hosting 23 ribbon cuttings across our community to celebrate new businesses, milestone anniversaries, expansions, renovations, and much more. We are grateful for every business, both large and small, that has chosen to invest in Maumee. And we extend our sincere appreciation to Kristen, April, and Allie for their dedication to supporting businesses not only here in Maumee, but throughout our neighboring communities as well. Some examples of the incredible business growth in the Maumee in this past year include Crave Cookies and Side Cut Sandwichery and Saloon, which both opened in Uptown Maumee and have fast become favorite go-to spots for gourmet cookies and unique sandwiches and drinks. Rooted Aesthetics and Beauty Bar, which is also located in Uptown Maumee. They just celebrated their third business expansion in their location on the corner of West Wayne and Conant. Ohio Kids Dental, which invested $800,000 to revitalize the former Family Video building at Illinois and Conant, transforming it into a bright, modern dental practice and upgrading the parking lot to better serve patients. The Bridge Urgent Pet Care, which opened last February at 1011 Conant Street, and Sunrise Skillet Breakfast Restaurant, which held a ribbon cutting ceremony last year to celebrate the opening of a third location at Parkway Plaza. Superior Auto, which opened on Conant Street across from Calvary Church, and Mod Car Wash, which opened a new location on Conant Street. The Host Concept Balloon Store, which opened at the Arrowhead Shops on Dussel Drive. And in July, Sheets on Dussel celebrated the opening of a second Maumee Chick-fil-A, which was a $4 million investment. New Story School, which serves families with autism, invested $1.6 million to renovate 1905 Indianwood Circle before opening in August. And in late 2025, Staybridge Suites at the Shops at Fallen Timbers invested $1 million in a renovation project that upgraded every room, along with a common area, fitness area, and pool area. Aside from new business developments, we also celebrated community projects. We kicked off Bike Month last May by joining other community partners and cutting the ribbon on the new 3.5-mile multi-use path along the Anthony Wayne Trail, a project made possible through $1.78 million in state and federal funding and a major step towards a more connected, accessible community. We also celebrated the new Ford Field and Nature Play Treehouse, funded in part by a $91,000 NatureWorks grant. It's just one of many improvements at Ford Field, which also saw storm sewer upgrades to reduce flooding, expanded parking, a new basketball court, and new dugouts. This year, all of our parks across the city of Maumee will receive important maintenance improvements, including Epstein Park, which will see continued upgrades, including new lighting, utility enhancements, and ongoing efforts to remove invasive plants while creating a more natural, welcoming pathway. Our community has another year of exciting events to look forward to, as Acoustics for Autism, as we talked about earlier, returns on March 1st. at 440 West Dustle, which is a $534,000 investment. Super 8 is slated to become Spark by Hilton. Savage and Associates will invest approximately $7 million to nearly double the size of their building with a 20,000 square foot addition. Calvary Church is investing over $12 million on an expansion and renovation project. And Everdry Waterproofing is investing nearly $1 million in the construction of a new warehouse and office building on Mingo Drive near Spartan Chemical. We also have several housing projects underway, including the Metropolitan Holdings project next to the Pinnacle Event Space, which is a $54.5 million project. This 510-unit apartment complex is on a site that has remained vacant for 40 years. This development is projected to generate around $66.5 million in discretionary income for local Maumee businesses over the next 15 years, driven by the new residents' spending on living, dining, and shopping within the community. Arrowhead Lofts is a new 4-story complex with 62 affordable housing units. This is a $10 million project that will be built at Longbow and Arrowhead Drive on the south side of Dustle. The landings at Delta Crossing are also underway, which is a $10 million apartment project geared towards serving those 55 and older. Though 2025 was a year of growth, it was also a year of challenges. Every city has challenges. What matters is whether those challenges are clearly identified, responsibly managed, and grounded in reality. In Maumee, the last year tested our roots, but it also showed us something important. When issues are addressed from the ground up, the solutions that emerge are stronger and more durable. Thanks for the backup music. One of our biggest tasks ahead is infrastructure, particularly finishing the sewer work that has already begun. Good news, the debate phase is behind us. The plan is rooted in real practical funding and public input. Now our focus is steady growth, clear timelines, consistent communication, and professional execution. Strong roots doesn't mean standing still, they mean building in a way that lasts. Another challenge we have is restoring the confidence after significant leadership change. We know transitions can feel unsettling, but they do not uproot the city. Our professional staff remains in place, institutional knowledge remains strong, and our council is energetic, empathetic, and ready to govern. The goal is continuity, so that the roots that support daily operations stay firm, even as new growth begins. We are also being intentional about how civic engagement fits into governance. Grassroots energy works best when it is structured. When input happens early, decisions are made clearly, and implementation is steady. Listening strengthens leadership when it leads to thoughtful, predictable outcomes. And finally, fiscal discipline remains foundational. Just like any healthy system, growth requires balance. We will commit to growth by aggressively pursuing grants, fostering relationships, and performing long-range strategic planning. Our fiscal plan will create smart growth, not unpopular moves. These challenges are real, but they are rooted, understood, and manageable. And with these strong roots beneath us, Maumee is positioned not just to recover, but to grow in stability and confidence. Just a minute ago, you heard me mention strategic planning. Maumee has just recently completed and voted in our master plan, providing a direction for the city based on community input, culture, and economic growth. When we talk about the future of Maumee, we're talking about more than a wish list or a slogan. We're talking about a shared vision that grew from the ground up. Over the past 2 years, hundreds of residents, business owners, and stakeholders have contributed their ideas and energy to Maumee's master plan, a community-crafted blueprint that will guide our decision-making for the next decade and beyond. This isn't a document prepared in isolation. It's a plan informed by the voices of this community, by your experiences, your aspirations, your concerns, and your pride in this place we call home. At its core, the master plan reflects goals that resonate deeply with the grassroots spirit that defines us. It calls for approaches that will strengthen our infrastructure and core services, expand safe, connected transportation options, and advance the quality of life for everyone who lives, works, and invests in Maumee. This plan, this shared vision, is the soil in which our future will grow. But a vision without action is like a seed without water. So I want to talk about how we will turn these roots into real, measurable progress together. One of the most important lessons of the last year is that people want to be a part of the process. They want to be heard. That's a strength, not a disruption. As mayor, I am committed to structured, predictable engagement. That means regular, well-publicized forums, clear communications about big decisions, and opportunities for meaningful input long before decisions are finalized. This isn't about slowing things down. It's about getting it right, so that when we launch a project, we launch it with confidence, clarity, and community buy-in. This level of civic literacy and involvement builds stability, which in turn builds trust. Trust that is essential to both community cohesion and economic vitality. Our city deserves growth that is thoughtful and intentional, not rushed or reactionary. The master plan calls for responsible development strategies. Excuse me, let me try that one more time. The master plan calls for responsible development strategies that align with resident priorities and business needs. And that aligns directly with our city leadership priorities, ensuring that major zoning or infrastructure change includes resident and business engagement, creating impact reports showing how initiatives affect neighborhoods and businesses, and forecasting growth in ways that ensure return on investment and predictability for those who operate here. Development that strengthens neighborhoods, enhances walkability, and supports the everyday lives of our residents. Outcomes that are good for both people and business. The master plan affirms what we already know. People want to live, work, and play in a city that feels connected and vibrant. That means investing in parks, sidewalks, paths, and public spaces that invite families and neighborhoods into a shared life. We're revitalizing connections that bring communities together, from multimodal transportation options to safer streets and better public amenities. Each of these advances comes not from the top down, but through a conversation between residents and city leaders. The city works best when we work with each other, not apart from each other. That's why one of our core commitments is to uphold transparency and accountability at every stage of the journey. We'll be publishing user-friendly updates on large initiatives, share plain language summaries of policies, and ensure that both successes and challenges are understood publicly. This kind of openness is not a luxury. It's a foundation for long-term confidence. In fact, right now, the City of Maumee is undertaking 2 new web initiatives, OpenGov and Civic Plus. The city's website is being designed through Civic Plus, a web provider focused on municipal governments. The new site will focus on what matters most, making information easier to find, improving the user experience, and strengthening how we serve our community. Council agendas, packets, and meeting videos will be easier to access, and the new website will also meet ADA accessibility standards, ensuring that everyone in our community can use our online services. OpenGov will allow us to publish financial data, performance metrics, budget information, and projections through easy-to-understand dashboards and visualizations. This system will serve as a digital front door to City Hall, supporting our desire to make financial decisions in full transparency. Our city's future is not a mystery. It is a plan grown from the ideas contributed by neighbors, business leaders, and everyday citizens. A plan rooted in shared strengths and guided by a belief that when a community grows together, it grows stronger together. The master plan is our roadmap. Your voices are its foundation, and our collective action will be the force that turns vision into reality. With strong roots, Maumee will be a place where people choose to live, businesses choose to invest, and where every generation inherits a city that is stable, resilient, and prosperous. As I look ahead for Maumee, I don't see a city defined by last year's challenges. I see a city defined by what it chose to do next. We've learned something important together. Progress doesn't come from shouting over one another or from decisions made in isolation. It comes when people show up, ask hard questions, and stay engaged long enough to build something better. That's what grassroots really means, not disruption, but ownership. Strong roots don't grow overnight. They grow when residents stay involved, when businesses stay invested, and when leadership stays steady. And those roots are already here in our neighborhoods, in our workforce, our civic institutions, and the businesses that continue to choose to invest in Maumee. So, here is my call to action. To our business community, stay at the table. Keep telling us what works, what doesn't, and what you need to grow. Your insight makes this city stronger and more competitive. To our residents, stay engaged, not just when things are hard, but as we move into further stability. Your voice helps shape this city, and it will continue to guide it. And to our city leadership and staff, our responsibility is clear: to listen early, decide clearly, and lead with integrity every single day. Because when each of us tends to our part of the ground, the whole city grows stronger. Maumee's future will not be built from the top down. It will be built the way the city has always grown, from the ground up, with strong roots, steady hands, and shared purpose. Thank you.